General, what do you want to change about the economy? I mean, as Attorney General, you can do some things, but as Governor, you can do a whole lot more. Is there a governing philosophy of how this economy needs to change as we recover?
You know, absolutely, and definitely these are different jobs, but I think fundamentally it's dealing with the cost of living right now. I mean, so many people are experiencing high cost of living, whether it's in healthcare, housing, even transit, gasoline, you name it right now. And that's something that we've got to deal with as a state. I recognize there's monetary policy that the federal government is going to control, but there are actually levers and things that we can do as a state to better address that situation. But job one will be making sure this economy is back on track. That gets to issues of workforce development and job training. It gets to issues of child care, which is fundamental, especially to getting women back to the workforce. So a lot of opportunity and a lot of work ahead.
In your video, you said you want to continue what's working and fix what's not. What's working? What's the state done that's good that you're going to continue?
Yeah. Well, I hope that makes sense to people as a general governing philosophy. If something's working, then let's keep with it. And if it's not working, let's figure out what we need to do. And that's certainly what I've tried to do in my time holding this office as Attorney General. I think a lot is working. You know, I think about fundamentally the best thing that Massachusetts has going for it are its people. It's people, the human capital. And I see so much possibility and capacity there. I think that we've got great people. I think we've got great institutions. We've got some really terrific know-how across this state. I mean, if you look at some of what's happened just in the last few years, nearby in Kendall Square, over in the Seaport, the amount of money that's come in to the state in terms of investment, not just from the federal government, which, by the way, incredibly significant, what's coming here and what will be available to use to make this state better for families and communities, but also the investment money that's come in. Let's be proud of the fact that both Moderna and Pfizer have operations here and have been on the front lines, as with our healthcare system here, of course. But you know, those are just examples of some of the really great things that we have going on. And you know, that's why I understand people are tired right now. I understand that people wonder if we're ever going to get through this and out of this. And I'm just here to say we are, and we will. And we will move forward in ways that are bigger and better than ever imagined.
Traditionally, state voters have kind of split party power between the legislature and the governor's office. We're losing a Republican governor. What would you say to voters about voting you in as Democrat?
Well, you know, for me, look, I'm going to make my case to the people. It's about me, Maura, and they're going to have to evaluate me on my record, what I've done, what I say I will do. I'll leave some of that other business to the experienced pundits and others out here, some of whom are before me. But for me, this is about making, you know, the case to the people about what I'm going to do and how I'm going to move the state forward, how we're going to make things happen, how we're going to get things done, how we're going to make life better for families and residents, communities all across this great state.
For people that don't know about you or maybe are hearing about you for the first time today, what do you want them to know about Maura?
Well, I guess I want them to know that I didn't grow up wanting to be a politician. I never imagined it, to be honest. I knew I wanted to be a lawyer, and I went to law school because I wanted to help people and try to do some good. I've had opportunities to do that in my career. I'm a kid who grew up in a small town in Seacoast, New Hampshire. My family's from the North Shore in Newburyport, Massachusetts. But I grew up in a small town with a really loving mom and 4 younger siblings, and lived an experience like many kids in this state, and have had the privilege to be here for a long time. I try to bring my best to it. Some know that I have a background as an athlete, and for me, the things that I learned as an athlete about teamwork, about determination, about just firing through difficult times and challenges and bouncing back, about setting goals, having vision, achieving, these are things that fuel me to this day.
We know you announced today, but when did you actually decide to run? And would you be running if the governor were running for another term?
I can't remember the exact moment, but I'll tell you I'm here today, and I'm psyched about it.
Joe, how are you different from previous attorneys general who have tried to run this race and lost?
You know, again, I'll leave that to others. I'm probably the shortest that's ever run, and I will tell you that I have great respect for those who served as Attorney General. I'm close touch with many of them. I appreciate the service that they gave to the Commonwealth, that all who've served, frankly, in statewide office have given to the Commonwealth. But this is about running for governor, and this is about me being out there to make the case to the people across the state, to ask for their vote, to ask them to join this campaign, which is going to be about people and energy and inclusivity and optimism and vision and hope and getting things done.
Jennifer, we've heard from some of your primary opponents that suggesting that you represent the status quo and the establishment. You mentioned that people are tired and frustrated, looking for some change. What do you say to those who may look at you and say you've had 8 years, you are sort of a government candidate?
Well, I guess I'd say look at my record. I mean, I think that's what people have to do. Yeah. They have to hear my words. They have to look at what I've done. They have to look at what I say that I would do. And I'll let that in some ways speak for itself. I think about the fights that I've taken on as Attorney General. I think about the fights that I took on before becoming Attorney General, when I fought DOMA and won successfully all the way up to the Supreme Court, when we took on some of those subprime lenders who were just destroying lives and communities, particularly Black and Latino communities around our state with bad lending practices. I think about our record as Attorney General, whether it was taking on Purdue Pharma and the Sacklers, going after ExxonMobil and the fossil fuel industry, taking on the NRA, building a community engagement division so that people in our office, the People's Law Firm, your law firm, that's what we like to call it, are in communities around the state helping people. These are some of the things that I am just so proud of, and I look forward to more discussion as we go forward with this campaign.
General, how would your approach to the pandemic differ from Charlie Baker's, and do you agree with him that schools should not go remote despite the surge?
It's funny, did you see me? I just bumped into a couple girls on their way to East Boston High, and it was great to see them, and it's great to see kids in schools. We know that kids have suffered not being in school. We also know there were good reasons why at times kids couldn't be in school. I think that there are any number of ways for people to second guess decisions made by governors, mayors during this time. I will say that what I think should continue to guide us is science, is data, is information. We know that some of that data and information has even changed over the course of weeks or months. And we need to, in government, be paying attention to that, driven by that, and then set whatever policies need to be set.
So should there be a remote option for kids in public schools?
I think we've got to continue to be guided by what's happening in terms of rates of infection. And that has to be the guiding principle here. And it just depends. And if at times things need to change, either with respect to remote access, with respect to any number of things associated with this, we need to be able to have the flexibility to do that.
Jennifer, and are there equitable growth and recovery in Western Massachusetts, and that you bring the job training to Western Massachusetts?
Okay, great. I think I heard you.
How will you bring economic growth and recovery, make sure that it extends to Western Massachusetts and bring their job training there too?
Yeah.
From the pandemic?
Sure thing. Well, back when I was running, I think I started my campaign in Western Massachusetts, and I've spent a lot of time out there. I have an office. Our office has an office out in Western Massachusetts. I think there are so many possibilities, when it comes to what we can do here in this great state. I think about tremendous manufacturing possibilities. Even some of what we're going to see on the coast with wind, a lot of that manufacturing can actually take place inland in this state. I think something's got to happen. East-West Rail, regional transportation and infrastructure has got to get built out. But I think there are great opportunities, great people in our western part of the state, and great opportunities. And that's part of what visioning is about. We've got, again, tremendous human capital, tremendous know-how, and we've got an opportunity with some money coming into the state for investments that are going to improve the lives and well-being and bring jobs and a better economy to every region of the state. And that is a responsibility of a governor.
You're the obvious front runner in this race. Can you
consider a pivotal endorsement for Ayanna Pressley, who is considered one of the most progressive politicians in the country? Would you put yourself on that sort of plane as a uber progressive in this race?
I'll leave that to others to characterize my record.
With her
But
on most positions, would you say, critical positions?
Oh, I think if you look at my record, it speaks for itself in terms of where I am on fighting systemic racism and inequality, fighting for access to affordable health care, recognizing that across every sector, whether it's employment, transportation, the environment, criminal justice, we can and should apply an equity lens to everything that we do and bring an intentionality and an energy so that we are, in fact, improving the lives and well-being and stakes of everybody here in the state, regardless of zip code, race, ethnicity, and the like. And I enjoy, and I will say, I appreciate that there are so many things happening right now. I appreciate people's voice. I appreciate their advocacy. I love people, and I love people's enthusiasm. And right now we're in a time, Allison, where people are demanding that what hasn't worked in our systems be addressed. And I think, to be honest, with COVID, with so much being dismantled, with so much being disrupted, with the ways of life that we knew them sort of gone, we've got an opportunity to move forward in new and different ways, and in new and different ways that are going to be better for every single person in this state.
You're the obvious front runner in this race. You're getting a lot of endorsements already. Is this race over before it starts? Have to ask.
This is going to be a hard race. I've campaigned before, and I've had hard races before, and I intend to campaign as I've done with every other race, and that is to work my tail off every day, talk to as many voters as I can talk to, listen to as many people as I can listen to around this state, and be out there and available, letting people know not just what I'm going to do as governor, but who I am. And I recognize that some people know me because I've been Attorney General for a few years now. I also recognize that in a state of 7 million people, a lot of people don't know me. So we're just at the beginning now. But I look forward to the weeks and the months ahead on the trail.
This was asked earlier, but I'll ask it in a different way. Would you be in this race if Governor Baker was running for a third term?
This is so rear view right now, so I'm all about going forward. I gotta tell you that. I am just really excited to be here today. Really excited to be here today.
Does the state need to make further changes when it comes to criminal justice or oversight of the police, or is the law that was passed last year satisfactory?
Nothing satisfactory. You pass a law, you pass a regulation, you do something. It should never be the end of the story. I do think the legislation that was passed is really helpful. I'm looking forward to seeing it implemented as we go forward. Of course, we have a new post commission. I appointed people to that. Along with others, and there's important work to be done. There is always work to be done when it comes to justice, when it comes to addressing what have been problematic scenarios, inequalities, disparities, things that aren't working. And certainly I look to do that, not just in criminal justice, but across all realms, working with others in a collaborative spirit to try to fix what's not working and move us forward with new and different opportunities. Thanks, everybody.
You said you never imagined being a politician, so what fueled your decision to get in now and run?
I guess when I was working in the Attorney General's office, I was a lawyer there, an assistant attorney general, and I looked at the Attorney General and I thought that she had a really cool job, a job that you could go to every day to try to help people, to try to make a difference in people's lives. And some of you know I ended up being in that office for about 7 years, and then there was an open seat. And because I understood that you had an opportunity to make a difference, I saw something in that. I put my hat in the ring. I was unknown, and a lot of people didn't give me a chance in terms of success at the election. But I got elected, and have had the opportunity and the privilege of serving this state, this great state, the last 7 years. And in this moment, this is a moment of urgency for our country and for our Commonwealth. It's a moment of possibility. It's a moment of opportunity as well. And I think that I'm the person that brings the right kind of skills, the right kind of perspective, the right kind of know-how to move us forward to do really great things in this state, and I look forward to that.
Why did you choose to launch your campaign here at the MBTA stop?
I love you, Steve. I love you, Steve.
It's